How are you? How are you? It's Friday, bitches. We are here. We made it. Yes, WW Gaddy 1978. The title alone. We're gonna get into this tonight on the heels of all those dating lists. I have a clip from when I visited with Fresh and Fit. A point I made to them goes along the lines of tonight's topic. Lily and No Saint are off tonight, so it's just New Yorkers, Haran and I, okay? To be the thorn in your side on this evening. All right? As New York as it gets up in this
No
bitch.
hands held tonight.
Okay? No one is safe tonight because there are no buffers. There are no buffers here tonight, okay? All right, guys. So if you want to support the show, please hit me at the Cash App on the block with Jen. I'm also on the block with Jen at Gmail if you want to contact me for business. I'm also on the block with Jen, TikTok and Instagram and what have you. Also, guys, I just want to give a big shout out to you and a big thank you. You guys are killing it with the support. A lot of people are watching my shorts, the shorts I have with Sisterhood Sips, and I got more shorts coming from my interview with Big Daddy Kane and my one-on-one interview with comedian Carlos Anthony, who's a local comedian out here in Vegas. The shorts, you guys are killing it. You guys are sharing it. So thank you. Salute to you all. I told you we are expanding going into 2024. Okay. You guys are showing up for it. Even the people that are hating, you know what I mean, in the comments. And I don't even like calling it hating because everybody has a fucking opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, whether I agree with it or not. It's neither here nor there. But you guys, are watching it. That's why you're critiquing it. Haran, talk to the people. Anything you want them to know before I get into the years?
Not nothing right now. I got some things cooking on my end, but I don't want to talk about it right now. Some things are definite, but I'm good right now.
Okay, so you wait until the ink is dry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Hey, that's what my mom always told me, right?
Wait till the ink is dry.
Wait till the ink is dry. I agree. So, Haran Zamarco, yes. A long time ago, a couple years ago, I had some dudes. I was on a panel with some random dudes on some random panel. 1 second. Easy. So I was a couple years back, I was on a random panel with some random panelists, and the subject, way before these dating lists popped off of where you shouldn't take women on a first date and what have you, that whole battle that's going on. A couple years back, I got into verbal fisticuffs because this guy, some random stranger I don't know, was quite perturbed that I said I would not accept a coffee date for a first date. So he went on with his little the Bum Nation, and he went to his Twitch, and there was a 5-hour stream dedicated to me not wanting to go on a coffee date for a first date. I don't know why I affect people so deeply, but I do, right? So it's interesting that these dating lists have popped up. So tonight I'm simply asking, are you appealing enough to offer a coffee date? Are you appealing enough to offer a coffee date? And by appealing, it means attractive or interesting in some sort of way. It does not mean tax bracket only. Can we put the money aside for 1 second? If you find somebody appealing, it's not necessarily that they are rich or wealthy or in a high tax bracket, although that may be one of the ingredients, but that is not the only way a human being could be appealing. All right? It's not the only way.
I just want to say one thing. It's a pet peeve of mine. I never told you this. I judge a woman's femininity on how she sneezes. It sounds weird. It might sound weird. But I judge a woman's femininity on how she handles a sneeze.
If it's like,
yeah. Then you start, and you covered your mouth. You held yourself back as if you were saying, "Excuse me." That's a lady. That's a lady.
There you go. Every now and then I'm a lady. Every now and then.
I've seen chicks just the spit hanging. I get turned off by it. So that's one of my little things. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you. But you see, you never know what grinds people's gears. You just don't know. You just don't know. Got to
Mm-hmm.
be more careful in my Lily voice. How you
Mm-hmm.
doing, George Cook? George Cook says, "Of course, I'm more than attractive enough to offer a coffee date." Okay, George. George is putting his bid in for the Starbucks. All right, out the gate. Okay, so I was over hanging out with the Fresh and the Fits. Everybody knows who Fresh and Fit is, and I made an example of tonight's topic. I do have the video. I'm gonna play the video. We can dissect me. Okay, I'll play the video. Haran, you tell me what you think. Chat, you can tell me what you think. Lurkers, if you're catching the playback, you can tell me what you think in the comments. Okay, we can dissect this because I'm the person in this video, just like we dissect other videos. So you can dissect this. Okay, but this was my explanation to Fresh regarding that whole thing. So I'll play the video and then we'll dissect. Okay. Depth Nos says physically in shape, college educated with a master's epidemiology, 300,000 a year. Yes. Be happy, physically in shape, college educated with a master's. Okay. Does that mean that you can offer a coffee date? I think that's what he's saying, right?
Yeah, that's basically it. That's basically
He's
it. He's answering the answering the
okay. I
question.
mean, it sounds good on paper. When you got the master's and has a ton of syllables in it, so you're probably a good conversationalist. Okay, you know, I don't know what you look like though, but that sounds great on paper. I'd hire you. Okay, so what?
Oh shit! Anyway, go ahead.
What? You got to share with the class.
I mean, it's going kind of. It's. I can see where this is going. This is going to go over the heads of a lot of people. But go ahead, keep going.
Okay. All right, guys. So
Keep
I'm
going.
going to play the video. Pay attention. Okay. I'm only going to play it the one time. So put your listening ears on and let's get into this. Let's play the video. And you can see Myron, that's Fit, the tall guy. You can see I'm stressing him out. It only takes me like 2.5 seconds to stress the man out, Haran. I don't know why. He's sitting there like, who let her in? But here's the video. Here's the video. Listen, can I be frank without hurting feelings?
Castle.
Okay, so initial meeting, right? I like what I like. I'm attracted. Let's just say I'm just going to use two of you as an example. What's your name again? I'm sorry. Fresh. Okay, so I'm just chilling somewhere on a park bench. Michael walks up. You walk up 5 minutes apart. Michael can say, "Hey, I'm not really familiar with this place. You want to grab a cup of coffee?" Blah blah. I'm going. Look at the body. You.
What the fuck?
Whoa!
That means some deep shit, man.
Watch out.
So check this out. So it's like I think that the men that don't qualify for the I'll take the coffee get mad, but everybody doesn't qualify for anything. So yeah, some guys have to work a little harder. They have to impress a little bit more, and some guys just come in. And you guys do it too with women.
Right.
If a woman's very attractive, you'll give her more of a pass, and if she's not, you're like, well, kind of prove yourself because you're not really my type, but I'm willing to work with you because you're a nice person. You're probably a very nice person, but I'm like, you're gonna have to work. You don't have to take me somewhere nice. Physical attraction is big, and we ignore that. I'd be like, let's go to Starbucks. I'll do that. Okay. What do you think about what I said, Haran? Because everybody likes the truth on social media and on YouTube. That was hella truth. But everybody was oohing and eyeing. Oh God! Oh God! What? Oh God! I'm like, I thought y'all liked the truth. What the fuck is going on?
That's the absolute truth, man. I mean, and I'm sure there's going to be some guys who come up, who leave comments after the show, be like, it's the truth. Men are different. Like, no, men aren't different. You know what I mean? If and no shade, no hate. I'm just using this girl as an example. Whatever, fuck it. If Gabby Sidibe or Sidibe Precious, whatever, had attitude with you, as opposed to Brittany Renner had an attitude with you, as a man, who are you willing to put up with a little bit more or a little bit longer, even if it's 15 seconds longer? Come on, man. You wouldn't even entertain, Gabby Sidibe or whatever. Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing her last name. Let's just call it what it is. It's just human nature. This is human nature. It is called the halo effect. Okay, it's called the halo effect. We tend to put people who either are physically attractive, who have a certain status, something. We tend to put them on a pedestal or to some degree and deal with them a little bit more than we deal with other regular folk. It's just is what it is. It's nature.
Okay, shout out to Big Elvis, the chef Rosenberg. How are you, sir? Haven't seen you in a minute. Thank you for the super chat. Big Elvis says that was cold. I loved it. It was just the truth, Elvis. It was just, this is what it is. The world is black and white. But YouTube will have you believe that only women operate this way. Men also operate this way. I don't know how that got lost on YouTube. George Cook, welcome to the panel. What say you about my commentary? And just in general, are you appealing enough to offer a coffee date?
Okay, yeah, laying all jokes aside, from the comments and everything. 20 years ago, I would have said, yeah, I was very much in shape, had the body, all that for it. Not now, definitely not now. So I got work to do on that, but I'm definitely make a lot more money than I did then. I'm in a better career, all that, have a master's and blah, blah, blah. But I'm too old school for coffee dates. I really am. I grew up in a time, I'm an early Gen Xer, and I grew up in a time when there was no such thing as going to Starbucks and all that. It was either you took them out or you didn't. But I'd say today, the guy who can pull that off, and I'm sure, Haran, you're going to agree with this, it's the dude who's already the outlier. He's already in the 5 to 10%. He's the for you, Jen, you use Jason Momoa. He's the Jason Momoa of the world. He's somebody readily apparent that when he walks up, he's got the cachet to go with it, and she's going to be like, yeah, okay. I mean, that's the typical on the manosphere. The term they use for that dude is he's Chad Thunderstroke. Okay, and so
Chad,
it's
Chad,
Jerome, whoever. Yeah.
The blacks are the Tyrones. Yeah, it's a very strange thing. I will say this though, George. I know what you're saying. But however, I will say this. I'm not in the shape I was 20 years ago and so on, but I'm still fucking. And I can still say that, yeah, I'm attracted enough to get a coffee date. The reason being is that I'm still me as a person. I'm still an interesting human being. I don't necessarily have to, look like how I was when I was competition ready. Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. That's awesome. But never allow that to define who you are, man.
Yeah, well, you got a point. I see where you're going with that. You're right. I can see why you're saying what you're saying.
Yeah, because a lot of times with women, one of the things that the caveat that they leave out is that, they'll go with that guy. They'll leave with that guy.
Confidence.
Let him stroke it maybe even after a while. But if he's not interesting, if he's dumb, if he doesn't tickle this after a while,
yeah,
they'll lose interest. And women lose interest. Like they got the interest and the attention of a gnat. They're like this.
We absolutely do. That is true. I cannot deny. We get turned off very, very easily. We're like, oh, look, a shiny thing. And then we forget that this is even over here, right? Oh, look, glitter. We forget he's even over there. That is how we are. But I want to talk about initial meetings and attraction, because you're absolutely right. I can get with a Jason Momoa and then find out he's a total tool. He's not interesting. And after a while, that's going to get boring. But I'm talking about initially this coffee date phenomenon, these dating lists. That's what I'm talking about. So Depth Nas says, need to know a woman's personality before investing in her. Coffee date is the best way. To me, going back to what you said, George, you're old school. So a date is a date. To me, a date is a date. I don't do coffee dates. Take it to someone else. Right. But the thing is that they get mad that I don't want to do that because they want a certain woman that looks a certain way to accept the coffee date. Mind you, there are a plethora of women that will take that coffee date. Lots of women, because they want the company of a man, because they're trying to get married, because they want to be in a relationship. There are lots of women that will accept that coffee date. I will not, right? However, I did say in that video, if someone walks in looking like the Michael fellow, well, then you have my attention on just sheer attraction, and that's human nature, right? Oh shit, protector, provider. I don't know. He just looks big. He has muscles. It's that's instinct. I think that's nature, right? But with the explosion of social media and making regular guys think that they are entitled to say what a Jason Momoa can have is absurd to me. It's an absurdity.
Look, listen. Okay, I'm gonna drop some knowledge right now, and you can look this shit up. Okay, um, for physically as men, there's certain things that some men are born with, some men aren't, that usually attracts a woman's, eye. For instance, a lot of the talk that we have in the bodybuilding world, a lot of guys wonder if they have bodybuilding genetics and so on. And there is such a thing as bodybuilding fucking genetics. There is.
Yeah, Phil
Usually
Heath.
shorter guys, if you're under 6 feet, it's quicker for you to gain muscle because there's a shorter distance between your joints and your muscle. You know what I mean? Now, for a person such as myself, usually people, one of the things that I'm gonna make this fast. Usually guys who can actually, gain muscle, they can also gain fat pretty quick. So if you notice a lot of those guys on their off season, they look kind of fat. Their shoulders are usually wider than their midsection. You know what I mean? When these guys lean down, they have like a V shape. Women are attracted to that shit. They're attracted to that small waist, that big rib cage, those wide fucking shoulders, that inverted triangle shit. You know what I mean? There are some women are attracted to a dude with a round ass. This one right here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Some women are attracted to shit like that. You know what I mean? Your legs have to look a particular way and so on. But the point of the matter is that a lot of men aren't built like that. It's usually the guys who are built like that, whether they're shorter or they're 6 feet. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is a perfect example of a motherfucker with amazing fucking genetics, sans the steroids and so on. Women are going to look at that guy. Most men do not look like that guy. Even if they got on steroids, they would not look like that guy. And that is the problem a lot of times we don't want to talk about. Most men, whether it's physically, whether it's intellectually, whether it's financially, the top tier of men that attract women, that's not what most men live up to. So most men, they're going to get what they get. Most men are just going to get the crumbs that those dudes leave, to the side. This is reality. Mm-hmm. It's fucking reality, man. This has been happening way before us, and it's going to happen way after us. It just is what it is because women are hypergamous. Women are hypergamous, and if they're going to constantly have their eyes on the top 5 to the top 1%. Then that means genetically, financially, intellectually, those guys are always going to be the ones who get the pick of the litter first, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, and when you were talking about bodybuilders and all that, I know you know who Phil Heath is, Kai Green, Ronnie Coleman. I was thinking about Phil Heath is like he's like the ultimate,
he was amazing.
Symmetry.
He was amazing. I mean, and Ronnie.
Yeah, but you're talking about that kind of guys, like 1/10 of 1% of
See, the problem is like even with bodybuilders, if you look at their younger photos, they look like that without the steroids. You know what I mean?
Right.
They just look like that at like 15. You ever seen Dwayne Johnson at 15? Dude look like a grown man. You know?
Oh yeah, Arnold. Arnold was looked like that.
Exactly, Arnold. You saw his documentary. This dude was looking like a grown man at like 16. So you know what I mean? These dudes are genetic outliers, and I hate to say it, man. Women are 9 times out of 10 attracted to what we would perceive as genetic outliers. Because in their hindbrain is telling them, I need the best genetic material possible in order to have healthy children and the best children possible. That just is what it is, man.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you, man.
You're muted.
What do you think about this? Because I see this a lot, and it makes me laugh because I was like, whoa, inflation. Um, Why Not Learn says investment means putting in as little as possible while getting the most out of it. I know what an investment is, although I don't agree with your definition. Um, they look at a date as an investment, right? Which is laughable to me because when I take myself out to dinner, when I take myself out to a show, when I don't, it's not an investment for me. It is it's leisure, it's entertainment, right? If I go to a show, if I go to a Broadway play, if I go see a movie and I don't like it, I don't give a damn. I don't feel like I lost on an investment, right?
Yeah.
It's just sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. I be the critic in the audience or whatever. And that's how I view dating. I don't think it's that serious. And I find it funny that men are now trying to paint it as serious as women used to paint it. Remember, every time a woman dated a guy, it was a potential husband. Remember that time? Remember back then when it was like to potential husband, they started talking about marriage on the third date, and guys were like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. So now it seems like the tables have turned, and now men are talking about dating like it's some sort of investment. They have to get to know this woman's personality before they buy her a steak. Therefore, she only qualifies for a coffee. But I call hogwash, I call bullshit because men don't date to marry. They're trying to get vagina 9 times out of 10. Okay,
Hmm.
9 times out of
Hmm.
10. And if a woman starts bringing up marriage, it's cringy for him because he's like, I'm just
Hmm.
trying to have a good time. I want to have some dinner. So I find it ironic that now it's like, hey, I'm not going to invest in a woman and get her a steak. I'm just going to do coffee just in case I don't like her. Really?
Yeah, yeah, Jen. And if you think about it, on what's happened in the manosphere is they've taken, some science and econometrics about the return on investment. She's, if she hasn't given you sex by the third date, it's probably not worth it anyway,
Oh,
or something along those lines. In other words, there's like
No,
a
no,
formula
something like
to it.
that.
Men are naturally attracted to like formulas. If I put in X, I'm going to get Y.
okay.
And what's happened is especially with a lot of this evolutionary psychology and stuff, which is fine to explain kind of like the background and all of that. But I think men today have taken the art of it out, and they're relying too much on the science. The art is kind of like what Haran's alluded to. You've got the game. You come up there, you're confident. You got your shit together. All those things that the woman looks at, right? Um, and so they're relying on this. That's where this coffee, they've drawn the XY graph, and they plotted out the points, and they've determined that an optimal investment for you, Jen, might be $20 at Starbucks or something like that. That's an initial investment. That way they've kept their risk, they've minimized their risk and maximized their gain. It's that kind of mentality, whereas it's obviously not like that at all. I mean, those, it's kind of like I call it, dating explained by an economist. So and if you have an economist explain dating, it's gonna paint a very bleak picture. It's going to show for the man, for the amount of money and investment you put into it, you're going to lose a lot. In fact, what's the batting average? Your batting average is going to be around 2 to 300. Haran calls that, and he's right. He calls that the cost of doing business. That's just the way it fucking goes.
That's it.
And so it is. And
I,
so that's my point, is that I think as men, if the manosphere is listening, is back, keep those things in the back of your mind. It's more, think of them as more as like helping understand what's happening, but don't discount the art of it. As Jen, I can tell you this: men are attracted first physically, then it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Okay. For
Speak of
women,
that.
it's very different. It's mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. Uh,
Um,
Dr. John, Dr.
like
John Gray, that's where I'm getting all that stuff from. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus stuff. So
I would
anyway,
I would argue with him now. I would argue with Mr. Gray.
okay. On what aspect about attraction?
Yeah, because we've evolved. Women have evolved. Women have evolved. I think we're getting more feral as time
So you're saying
goes
physical is
by.
moving lower in the list. In other words, it's like becoming the first thing or the
Right.
second thing.
I like your explanation very, very much because the way the manosphere, the red pill, whoever it is, I did throw a name out there. I don't give a damn. The way they're explaining matters of the heart and feelings and emotions is a little silly to me. I love your analogy because it's like me asking a heart surgeon to explain falling in love. Right? A heart surgeon is going to be like, I only know how to transplant hearts. I don't know how this, I don't, he's going to be like, I don't, I transplant hearts. And then you're like, no, but you deal with hearts. So you must know how people fall in love. And he's like, no, I do this thing. Right. I don't like the way a lot of the times the cost of doing business, going back to that, when you're telling men, something very, very important that is gets left out. You tell a man, go work out, go get your funds up, dress well, smell good, you know what I mean? Drive this type of car. And then guess what? Still in all, there's chemistry. And you can have all of that and a woman still not want you. And that's the part that these YouTubers leave out, that you can have everything they told you to get and you may still meet a woman that just doesn't mesh with you. Women, I've gone out with guys that were great on paper. Look at this guy. He's like, I make $300,000 a year. I have a master's. I'm in shape. And you might take me on a date and I'm like, I don't like the way he chews. I don't like the way he laughs. Women are fickle. Right? We're like gnats, like Haran said, we're fickle. So I was like, I don't like the way he laughs. I don't like the way he treats the wait staff. I don't like the way he just spoke to his mother on the phone when he took her call. I don't like this guy. I don't like his sense of humor. And he can be great on paper. And I think that's the mistake that happens in these environments where it's like, don't forget to tell these dudes, you have to mesh with the personalities. It's very important.
I think the social media environment has turned the average male into a misguided idealist when previously we were solid salesmen. Let me explain. A solid salesman understands the needs of the person that they're trying to sell something to. And a solid salesman also understands that even under the best conditions, with the best game, with the best pitch, sometimes shit just doesn't go your way. You move on to the next situation. These dudes, they want to bat 1,000 straight out the gate. What moron is going to actually sit there and actually believe that? You're an idiot if you actually think that that's how it happens. No, every rich man that you actually see in this world has had a moment in time where he's lost everything consistently. They don't talk about the Apple products that failed, the gang of Apple products that failed. They only talk about the winners because the marketing folks make sure we only talk about the winners. You know what I mean? People only tell you about their wins. They don't tell you about the time when they spent 6 or 7 months on a particular deal and that shit fell through because someone brought the wrong napkin in or someone had a stupid pen that the client saw and they said, I hate that fucking pen, I'm out of here. It's the same shit with women, man. It's the same shit with women. It could just be going great, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But I can say this. The moment you do get what's going on up here with them, you got at least a shot. When you're still at that phase where they're trying to figure out anything can happen. You know, anything can fucking happen.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get to the point where she loves you and shit like that, man, I didn't see women put up with a lot of shit. They put up with a lot of my shit. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Right.
But the point is, you got to get to that point. I'm going to give you a story. Okay, look, listen. When I was, you know what I mean, in my gigging days, I didn't have no fucking money. But I was an interesting person, you know what I mean? You know, I thought myself to be interesting, you know what I mean? I had a talent and so on. And there was this particular girl that I saw that I really was like, yeah, I need to get my hands on that. Like, yeah. But I watched her. I watched her for a little bit because I was like, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up. I gotta watch this for a second. So I watched her and I watched her for like a week or two, and I happened to hear her have a conversation with a friend about a song that she loved, a song that she liked. And I said, oh shit. And I knew what time she would actually come out the dorm room and be on her way somewhere. I made sure I was out there with my acoustic guitar playing her favorite song, which was Oasis's Wonderwall. I was out there playing Wonderwall. And when she heard that, it caught her ear and caught her attention. And then when it caught her attention, she looked at me and then she walked over and I was like, I got her. I got her.
Yes, slide devil.
But in that situation, I said to myself, okay, I don't have money. I don't have all these other things. Which I wasn't driving. I was like, what do I got? What do I have that can pull this person in? And salesmen sit down and they analyze their prospects. What is this person like? What is this company like? How can I do this? And strangely enough, that's what women do to men. I learned. Men, they want. They find ways to put themselves in you know what I mean, the position where they're in their eyesight, where they're in the position where they could just grab you and snatch you. It's an amazing thing when you think of the game and the way it moves, and you just let it flow, and you know how to play it, and you don't try to come to the table with this pseudoscience, whatever this dumb shit is that that never works. You know what I mean? It's amazing when you just let it flow, how everything could just move, man.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
statistics are hilarious to me. I watch some of these shows and these guys pull out the scroll with all the statistics of why women are going to be single and why, the men women want don't exist. And the statistics are wonderful. The math is wonderful. And then there's like real life. And as long as it has a vagina, it has a chance. And it has a better chance than you. Right?
Yeah,
Because men have to come to the table with something. Women just have to be somewhat appealing or cute, you know what I mean, or female, or warm, 98.6 degrees. So those stats they make me laugh. They make me laugh, and I hear them all the time. What kind of man do you like? The man you want is only 0.30% of the population, and she can still leave this room tonight and get laid. Can you? Without buying it. So that's why those stats are funny to me. Because she can still, even with you telling her the man you want is 0.003, she can still walk out of here tonight and just get with it.
Yeah. Now, to be clear, Jen, because those it's kind of like the men looking for the top 10% of women. It's the women who are in the bottom 95% who are the ones who have these unrealistic expectations, who think they can get the top one, the Jason Momoas. I'll just leave him. The Jason Momoas of the world. It's just very unlikely. That's where that applies. Now, you were talking about that all the woman has to do is show up basically with a warm, vagina. And I don't know the Spanish word for that, by the way. I don't want to get us a clip from YouTube. So sometimes
We can say vagina. It's the other
vagina.
word.
Okay. All right.
Cooch.
Cooch. Yeah. Cooch. Or, but anyway, through my train of thought, is that initially, Jen, you're right. If you just want to hit it and quit it, you're right. That's all she needs to show up with. But if you're talking, for at least for me, from my experience, it's that I get tired of that kind of quick, because I want her to have some substance to her and some depth. I'm one of those. I think Lily was talking about this one time. I get turned on not only by the physical, but if her mental game is there, she can sit there and we can have a nice debate. That turns me on. That fucking turns me on. It's like, I'm like, oh yeah.
And the thing too is that the problem with those manospheres and red pills and all of that, and I've had conversations with these guys, is that it all gets convoluted and misconstrued and conflated, right? Because when you're talking about statistics, you have to understand that within those statistics are people that are looking for love, people that are just looking to have children, people that are just looking to be taken care of, people just looking to have sex, right? Everybody's out there looking for a different thing, but everything gets conflated. And it's like, no, this percentage, no, that doesn't apply to this group of women. That doesn't apply to this group of men. Going back to what you said, George, with the unrealistic expectations, I've always said that is not gender specific. There is a slew of men in my DMs right now who think they can take me out, and a slew of them. They look like shit. They have no money. They live with their mamas, just horrible, horrible lives. They don't wash their ass, and they are in my DMs with more confidence than they have more confidence than a fucking Olympian, okay, at the Olympics. So I always
I
say,
know you've talked about that before.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's really not gender
Yeah,
specific. It
yeah,
really
true.
isn't.
That's fair. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Um,
James, I just want to just comment on what James is saying. It's a sad state of affairs as a woman. Your flex is that you can get laid. Really? Well, I'll give you something even sadder, James. It's a sad state of affairs when you're a guy who's making 100 grand per year. You got your own home, you got your shit together, and you still can't get fucking laid. That's sadder.
I
It's
knew
even
you were
sadder.
gonna,
There's a ton of guys like that.
I knew you were
There's a
gonna
ton of
flip it. Yep, because
and
my flex is I can get laid and I have my pick of the litter. You damn right that's a flex. That's power.
and
And
James, and,
that's
and
power.
James, at the end of the day, what a comedian said, I think a comedian said, ain't no woman on this earth should be motherfucking should starve to death or be homeless. You got a money maker between your legs. So women always have that upper hand, bro. They'll always have that upper hand. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You might not want that woman. You might think all you want about that woman, but there's going to be a guy with more money than you, looks better than you, has everything that you don't have, and he'll kindly take her. See, the problem is that your problem and your beef isn't with these women; it's with the guys. It's with the
What do you mean?
guys.
What do you mean? Found.
Because let me explain something. Women are going to do what women do. Period. Like I said yesterday, women are just going to go where the power is. They're going to go where the bigger dick is. They're just going to go wherever everything is. They're just going to do women shit. There's just to try to stop that or comment on that. You're just swimming against the tide. So who benefits from that? A guy that isn't you. Okay, well, your best bet, mathematically speaking, is to remove that option. Remove that option or options to ensure that you're the best option. How do you do that? Did you ever think about doing that? Oh, that's right.
What,
It's called
competing?
competing.
Competing? In 2023, men competing for women?
So, you can think whatever you want about these women, man. There's going to be a dude with Brett. There's a dude in Miami right now, man, just literally pouring $20,000 down some chick's dress. Oh, it's like, you're over here arguing with me, a nigga with some Avion water in his hand on a Friday night.
You know, it's funny that, again, that's why these YouTube, environments are bad, because they're teaching men, especially young men who are very vulnerable, okay, very vulnerable. They're teaching young men that their vitriol, right, should be pointed at the women that don't want them versus the men that they have to compete with for women, right? So human beings are becoming like parasites or mold that grows on, because everything has to compete to survive. Everything that is living and breathing has to compete to survive. They have to compete to mate. They have to compete to eat. They have to compete to everything living. So now there's this whole generation of men coming up underneath these YouTubers who don't give a fuck about them, because they're making the YouTubers rich, and the YouTubers are also the men they can't compete with. Okay, the ones that are pouring the champagne down the woman's dress right now in Miami, while you're stomping in chats, right? You're stomping in chats talking about what a flex isn't and what women won't do and why women aren't submissive. While you're doing that in the chat, the guy you're talking to is pouring champagne down the chest of that woman that you will never have, that you can't compete for because you don't qualify. And that's what's happening to a lot of the young men that were coming up. When Spro comes up here, he talks about that a lot. He is a stellar young man who was enveloped in the red pill and the manosphere, just a complete fuck up, part of Bum Nation. What did he do? slapped his own self, came out of it. Now he's successful, he's married, he has a child, he's happy, he's pleasant, he's intelligent. The rest of y'all, if you don't find yourselves like Spro did, you're just going to continue making YouTubers rich as they die off.
Yeah.
As they die off, one pops up.
Sporty Gamer has a good comment, and I say this is that you're right. He said nothing wrong with saying no to dating. Hey, listen, I completely agree with that. If you know right now that you can't step on the field and compete, then your job is to be in the proverbial weight room of life and getting yourself in there. I totally agree with that. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how much I agree with that, because it's just sometimes you can just, if you realize you're at a point in your life where you don't have what's going on. Like just recently, my stepfather passed away here, and now me and my sister are having to shift into being kind of taking care of my mom and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of if I was really wanting to date and all that right now and could, that would really kind of interfere with all that. So I completely agree with us, Sporty Gamer. Nothing wrong with just saying no to dating right now, but but continue to work on yourself. Definitely don't let that stop.
I love that, George. I agree with you, because that's what I do too. And people are like, oh, that's why you're single. I'm like, yeah, because you don't have
by choice.
Right, by choice. You don't have to be attached to someone at the hip your entire life in order to have a very fulfilling life. You have to take breaks from other human beings. You have to work on yourself. Who are you outside of a relationship? And life happens. You have to take more care of your mother. I may have a goal I want to reach before 2024. Like, there are a lot of things. Someone may have just had a child and now they're single. Now they got to concentrate on a child. Or someone may have to concentrate on their studies. Or someone may have, they're a cop and now they want to be a sergeant. So it's all about the book, because relationships are a lot of work, especially good relationships. Functioning relationships, people think those are the easy ones. No, those are the hard ones, because you have to dedicate more time. You have to be more attentive. You have to listen. And you can't have two things pulling at you, right? One of them is going to suffer. And we all deserve to be where we want to be, right? So I say stop dedicating yourself to relationships unless you are 100% in. However, the average human being doesn't care how fucked up in life they are. They'll go couple with someone.
Yeah, you nailed it. My sister, my sister, for the longest time, Jen, had to be in a relationship. And unfortunately, her husband died. And for the first time in her life, in her adult life, she had to stand on her own 2 feet and figure stuff out. And she was like freaking out, this and that and the other. And I was trying to help her out here and there. But, it's kind of like it's one of those things where she had to go through that crucible, if you will. Mm-hmm. And now I'm so proud of her. She's so solid now in being able and sure of herself and being able to take care of her own business and take care of things. And it's like your point about knowing who you are, and taking that time of self-reflection is spot on, because you've talked about your situation, some of the goals you've got, and that you said one time, it's like, you just said it a few seconds ago, the amount of time that you've got to put into it, it literally shuts out other things. And
Yep.
And hearing you talk about that, I've even thought about some women in the past I was interested in, and I thought they were just blowing me off because they were talking about, I'm interested in getting my career going. Maybe they were, but you know what? Now I'm kind of like, I kind of understand what they're saying. Mm-hmm. If they were dialed into that career, and and you couldn't be productive, but it's just the whole point. If you're the people in the chat, if you've never been on your own in your life, you've always had to have somebody in your life. I'm not saying dump the one you're with right now, but if you find yourself that again, just stop. Just stop. Do not go out and try to date. Take the time to figure out who you are, and go from there. But
it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how many people, they just can't fathom being single. They just can't. It's like almost they're so afraid of their own company. They can't fathom someone else wanting to be single to achieve goals. They can't fathom. It's like, you're single? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, no, you must be coupled up. You must be. And when I hear people talk like that, I'm like, you must be fearful of your own company. You're scared to death to be alone. It gotta be, because you hear it all the time. That's why you're single, and that's why he's single, and that's why she said. Mind you, most of the people that are saying this are single or in a relationship. They're not happy, and because they have to be attached to somebody so they can feel worthy. Like, oh look, someone likes me. It's bizarre behavior, quite bizarre. Haran, you were saying something.
James, he said something real quick. Okay. Hey, fellas, guess what? Women will spend your money if you let them. Hey, guess what, women? Men will sleep with you if you let them. Yeah, that's just people taking advantage of an opportunity. I don't know if you thought it was a mic drop moment. So here's the problem, James. I don't know you, bro. But a lot of times you sound like a very insecure young man who has an issue dealing with the realities of the world. You seem as if you want to change things in a particular direction, or you have a problem with a particular observation that you have no power to change. Men spend their opportunities and their times on things that they can change, such as their own decisions, such as the women that they do deal with. If you have a particular issue with the women that you constantly harp on or talk about, you don't have to ever in your life deal with those kinds of women. You don't have to ever deal with them. There's literally a swath of women who are the complete antithesis of the women that you constantly harp on. And, my overall curiosity lies in, why don't you guys spend your time finding and looking for opportunities that you are most likely going to have a higher success rating? You're constantly trying to see if you can sell meat to vegetarians. You're constantly trying to change. Seriously, these guys are constantly in the convincing business. 9 times out of 10, when you're in the convincing business, you're not convincing any fucking body, because 9 times out of 10, people don't want to be convinced. You just present yourself, present your product, present whatever it is that you're doing, and you make that person make the decision on whether or not they find it useful at the moment in time based on where they are in their lives. I don't know why that's so fucking hard for people.
Yeah,
The private Haran. So okay, so at the end of the day, right? Because sorry guys, we ain't gonna be here all night. But at the end of the day, it's crazy to me how people have no oomph to them, no competitive edge, and all. Me as a woman, right? I am an adamant believer of stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Right. Because I learned that the hard way. Many times opportunities came, knocked on the door, and it was like, hey, Jen, we need you to X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I didn't even do this. I didn't even do that. And I hated losing out on things that, would have catapulted me to different situations. So now I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And I think that's an edge that men are losing because they're up underneath, their cyber daddies. It's a dangerous thing, right? Because again, these men are just getting rich off of you. This is the new church. This generation of kids, they don't go to church. They come to YouTube. And the new preachers are these YouTubers. And they're constantly teaching them and preaching to them just enough to keep them dumb, but keep them interested, right? And it takes away their competitive edge, and they will not survive. They will not survive. The YouTubers will pivot. They will grift like Kevin Samuels was about to do. Kevin Samuels was an actor. He was ready to act. He wanted to interview celebrities. He was leaving Bum Nation to the wayside. Okay. And that's what all these YouTubers are going to do, because it's not sustainable. You cannot come up here every day and talk about women ain't shit, women ain't shit, women ain't shit. Hypertension, stress, depression. They're not going to do that for Bum Nation. So what they do, they grift or they pivot, right? Like Kevin Samuels was doing. But it's taking the edge away from these young men. And that's so, so sad and pathetic to me, because even as a woman, as a female, I'm constantly thinking competition. I'm constantly thinking I'm out here. There's a myriad of beautiful women everywhere I go. How do I stand out? Keep my body in shape, keep my face intact, no surgeries that make me look weird, keep my hair done. You know what I mean? Learn about things. So I have interesting conversations to have with men. You know what I mean? Different things. But I'm always thinking competing. I'm not delusional that I can walk in and it's like, oh, I'm cute and that's enough. No, you always have to be ahead of the game. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And these guys are just out here, like you said, Haran, in the convincing business. You know how pathetic that is? Imagine a woman, imagine an attractive woman coming to you and begging you, Haran, can you date me? Can you date me? Can you please date me? I really, really like you. Can you date me? You'd be like, get the fuck, what is wrong with you? Get away from me. Like, what's wrong with you that you want to give it to me so bad, or you're chasing me? Something is wrong. And that's just how women look at men as well. Like, so you're putting in no effort, you want to take me for a coffee? Get out of here. There's 10 guys behind you that want to take me out for a fucking steak. And that's whether I have chemistry with them or not, because to them it's not an investment, it's leisure time. And he just happened to want to do it with me. So I don't know.
Here's the thing about chemistry. I guess that comes along with the investment of guys wondering, if she likes me or not, and if she doesn't, at least all I did was spend coffee or whatever. Here's my thing. There's ways of knowing if this woman actually likes you or really actually is into you before the fucking coffee date. And if you can't pick up on those cues, either those cues aren't being given to you, or number two, you're too dense to see the fucking cues, which is even an even deeper problem. Like, for instance, yes, a lot of times women just show up to shit just because it was on their calendar. They didn't want to feel bad. Fuck it, some free food, free coffee. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, that is the truth. That does happen. But if you can't tell that that's going to be the case before you even show up, maybe you need to really sit down and really think about your game. But there is a way to actually, sit down and get the vibes. I don't give a fuck. It doesn't have to be in person. It could be over the phone. It could be, on FaceTime. If you can't tell if you got a person and a vibe, then you need to really rethink how you move. How does your game work? Because let's take away the accomplishments. Let's take away your status. Let's take away your body. Let's take away all these things. Let's take away every single thing. How do you move up here? How can you create something interesting up here? And if the only thing you know up here is 50-50 or red pill shit, that's
submit. You haven't met her yet, but I bet you gotta be submissive.
If that's the only thing that you got up there, 9 times out of 10, I'm telling you, those are box dryers. That's what I call it. It's box drying conversation. You know what I mean? I had a conversation, no, straight up. I had a conversation with a woman the other day, you know what I mean? And we were talking about the current dating scene. And it's like between men and women, we don't do the dance anymore. And if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. We don't do the, the flirting. We don't do the, the nice conversation, the no expectations. We don't do the cat and mouse. We don't do the dance. I miss the dance. Motherfuckers don't want to do the dance anymore. I'm not trying to sit here and worry about counting pennies and worry about all this shit and is she the one? No, I'm trying to have a nice time, bro. I'm trying to sit down with a lovely woman, have a conversation, have some laughs, so on and so forth. Maybe it'd be something else afterwards. I don't know. Just chill out, relax. We don't have that anymore. Everybody's so uptight before the first fucking date, and this is the reason why everybody just... Because, of course there's no chemistry. How can there actually be chemistry? You're basically telling this woman that, I'm here to subconsciously beat you to death so you can be the woman of my dreams. Like, okay, I don't really understand how that sounds romantic, but I'm sure in your mind there's some degree of romance involved in it. But anyway, go
ahead. James Oko, thank you for the super chat, says, I agree with everything you both just said. To talk to her on the phone first, be competitive, or at least try to be. Link me in later it's no beef. Yeah, so I love the idea of that dance, Haran. Luckily, I'm in an environment where I mean, wonderful men. I've met wonderful men just doing this panel. You know what I mean? And I just don't. I'm not in circles where men think and act that way, and I'm so happy. I feel bad for the young women that are coming up after me, because this is what they're going to be dealing with. But I just don't. And yes, I've been on dates where I thought a guy was really cool. First of all, I'm never down bad enough to need a date to eat. Okay. Thankfully, you know what I'm saying? Knock on wood. I've never been in a position where it's like, let me go on this date or I won't eat tonight. So I don't know where that whole thing came from that women do. I don't know where that came from. However, yes, I've been on dates with guys that I thought were cool, but then there wasn't any chemistry. And he went on with his life and I went on with my life. He didn't go do a 5-hour stream on me because I wasted his $30 for a steak. So it's like, I feel bad for these kids coming up, but people are out there. People, I know a lot of people like, I'm giving up. Like Brian Adams said, dating is too hard these days. I quit. It really isn't. It really isn't. If you are a pleasant person and you're open-minded and you work on learning things so you're interesting, it really isn't. What I think is, and I'll land the plane here, men are fucking petrified of failure. That is what I hear. They are petrified of failure. And life has a myriad of failures everywhere you go for everybody. That's not gender specific. For everybody, there's failure. But men are becoming so fearful of women that they don't even want to spend $40 on a date. They don't want to fail. They must be liked. If I take her out and she doesn't like me, I failed. If I take her out and I spend $30, I failed. And it's fear of failure. And you can't live like that. You can't, or you're not going to really be living.
Look, listen, boys are afraid of failure. Men aren't afraid of failure. Look, listen, I stand to you, a person who I done fucked up a multitude of times in my life to get to where I am. And the only reason why I am where I am right now is because of my sheer fucking resilience, my stubbornness, and my ability to have no issue with jumping out the fucking window, even if there was times where there was no parachute. I saw a video of Floyd Mayweather before he went pro. I think it's around the Olympic time. I don't know. He's still an amateur. He lost the fight. You know what I mean? The commentator asked him, a couple of questions. Floyd was sitting there crying like a bitch. Tears, everything. Just, I guarantee you, when he went home, that man said, that's the last time I'll ever lose again in life. Mm-hmm. I guarantee you in his mind, he said, that's the last time I'll ever lose again in life. I'm never going to feel this way again. And that motherfucker went to that gym, trained unbelievably hard, regardless of, I have my issues with him as a boxer, but I will never take his skills away from him. He's an exceptional boxer, an exceptional fighter, but overall, the point of the matter is this. As a man, you have to accept that life is going to be what life is. You cannot control everything. You cannot do that, because I guarantee you, if you sit here and you afraid all the goddamn time, the same way you're feeling right now, the same place that you are right now in life, 5-10 years from now, you're going to be in the same exact place because you were too scared to move.
Hey, James, let me answer your question. Why are all of these combos based around men's shortcomings? Because, James, we are the leaders. We are the absolute fucking leaders. And we're the ones, it's our responsibility to stand up, be the man that we're supposed to be. And that way, women have a tendency, like I said the other night, they want to adore you. They really do. They want to adore you, but you got to give them something to adore. And so, and here's the truth. Here's the God's honest truth. Haran, Jen, you were right about the fear of failure. That stalked me so long. And there's a long, long story why that is. But you're fucking right. And I finally had to just say, fuck it. And I started jumping out of airplanes and stuff like that, getting my confidence up and all that. And I was going to say this. Hey, James, if you haven't done it, go join a boxing gym. Learn how to, if you may already do this, but punch some motherfucker in the face and get punched in the face. I'm serious. I am serious.
No, it's true.
I'm
No,
dead
it's absolute
serious.
truth. It's absolute
And
truth.
then, and there's things like that. But James,
And
that's
lift
why,
weights
dude.
too, man.
Yeah, dude, James. We are the catch. That's the thing. We are the catch. We just got to live up to it. That's the key.
I agree with that. Louis Conier, what do you have to say on the tail end of the stream? I dropped
Uh,
the link. Who is this? I dropped the link to what's his name? Somebody said they want to hop on, but we're almost finishing up. Louis Conier, what say you?
uh, hey, what's up, everybody? Great show as usual.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think a lot of the time with this current situation, I don't think a lot of these people entered a dating or a ritual when they were young, and they never built up their scars. And what I mean by scars is how to adapt from rejection. I think that's the main problem. When you was talking about people are afraid of failure, I don't think when they were young, when they got rejected, they were actually how to overcome that situation. And that's the biggest problem. A lot of people need therapy, plain and simple. And what you said, most of these people, they need a blowjob and a martial arts instructor. No, that get them through a lot of this shit. They need a
that's not
blowjob and a martial arts
necessarily a bad
instructor.
idea. I mean, I take that right around now. Especially the blowjob.
On that note, thank you for the super chat, Fahim Jackson. Fahim Jackson says the dance-a-ron is not in the vocab of a generation. Impersonal communication hurt that dance. Have you tried talking to a younger person? They can't even look you in the eyes when they speak to you. Very true. It's like, hey, I'm up here. They're like this.
But Jen, unfortunately, right now, this atmosphere, I think it's in the trajectory of a strictly transactional environment right now, and I think that's where a lot of people are. Their heads are turning. I
Is
speak to
that
a
a bad
lot of
thing?
people.
Is that a bad thing?
I speak to a lot of people. A large group of people. They're jaded, and they're passing their trauma on to other people that they even get into the realm yet, which is making everybody paranoid.
Good point. Good, because that's how these kids sound. I'm like, these kids are like 28, 29, talking about, I'm not taking her on a date. Why are you so afraid, youngin'? Like, what happened? You haven't even started life yet, and you're letting some 50-year-old, 45-year-old dude who's married to some wench or single tell you what's out there and what you can and can't get according to what he couldn't get. They are paranoid. You're absolutely right.
Look, let me just say this right now, okay? A lot of these people spitting that nonsense that you just said, Jay. They come from our generation. You know, they're some of them are a little bit older. 9 times out of 10, these are the dudes and or the women who just ain't get chose. Y'all listen to people who ain't get chose, man. Before us, but in our day, it was a great time. We were doing the dance. We were dancing a lot. You know what I mean? Like it was a phenomenal time. You know what I mean? And then somewhere down the line, things just went in some sort of weird direction. You know what I mean? These nerds started getting, you know what I mean, a hand of the microphone, and they got control of the conversation. And a lot of you also who might be unlucky, started listening to those people and taking their words and their lies as fact. Like, nah, there's a lot of happy people back then. There's a lot of happy people now. It's just those people who you constantly keep listening to. Nobody really wanted to fuck with them ever.
Hey, but Haran, in our day, I don't even think they have the same experiences as us. Remember back in the day, you go to a house party, they playing the music, and then towards the end, they playing those slow jams, and you take your nervous ass across that room and grab that girl's hand. Like we had an actual dating ritual. When
Yes.
we came up, we had an actual
Yes.
dating ritual. Now, this is, I guess, thought culture. Like, you know, people drop the drawers easy, and for some people, and you don't go through those actual processes of the ritual to gain your confidence. You learn the social cues of the opposite sex. You don't have that today, and that's why a lot of people are lost. And that's what I think. This is what caused the environment to turn into an actual transactional environment. We, like me, you, Jen, the other gentleman, I forgot your name. I'm sorry. I apologize. We had
George.
actual rituals coming up as a child to get us prepared for the environment. Today's environment is different.
I mean, we joke about it. Like, we joke about you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
Right.
No, you
No,
hang
no,
up.
you're absolutely right.
On the
That's
morning, like, that doesn't exist anymore.
uh,
It's so bad
you know,
now that someone will be talking to you. Literally, someone will be talking to you and scrolling a social media account while they're talking to you. They got two screens open. I've seen them do it. They're up here and then they're scrolling while they're talking to you. That's how bad the attention span has gotten. I do want to answer this question before we get out of here. Israel Grace, fair question. Would I date the store clerk? No, I wouldn't. Reason being, the store clerk would not fit in my life right now. What I'm doing, the goals I have, it wouldn't make sense, right? It just wouldn't. It's like I can walk great, but you're offering me a wheelchair. Sorry, not sorry. Now, have I dated the store clerk? Yes, I have. But he wouldn't fit in my life today. And I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I've dated the store clerk. I've helped them at the store, but not today. Not for where I'm headed today, and not for my goals today. I can't do it. But somebody will. Somebody will date the store clerk.
absolutely.
Somebody.
And that's nothing
Somebody.
wrong with that.
Yeah. All right, guys. So this was a really good conversation, short and sweet. Join us tomorrow. We have another yummy, juicy one for you tomorrow. It's gonna be very, very spicy. Check out my shorts. Check out my shorts and comment on that. George, thank you for your commentary. Lewis, thank you for coming up late. Haran, as always, thank you. This was great. Hopefully tomorrow, Lily and No Saint will be up. No Saint was busy and Lily is traveling. All right, guys. So we will see you mañana. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out for mama. Don't forget, support the show. Cash App on the block with Jen. Good night, guys. Happy Friday.
All right. See ya.
See ya.